All right, so welcome back to another Voltage Spaces. This is Nate over here handling the Voltage account, head of support and education at Voltage. Bobby wasn't able to make it to this one, but we're still going to have a good time. And I'm really excited today because we are going to be talking to our friend at Africa Free Routing. And why don't you go ahead and pronounce your name for everybody? I want to make sure I don't get it wrong.
Yeah, you're correct actually. So it actually depends on who is pronouncing. Some people pronounce it as Africa Free Routing, some pronounce it as Africa Free Routing, you know. But either way,
Oh,
it's still correct.
well, no, I meant your name, my friend. I meant
Oh,
your
my
name.
name. Oh, right.
Unless you want to go by Africa for routing,
Nah,
that's
my,
fine
my
too.
name is Megas Lee actually.
Okay, so it's exactly how it's spelled. I
Yeah,
got you. Cool.
yes.
All right, Megasley. How about let's just kick it off with tell us a little bit about you, maybe a little bit of your Bitcoin journey, and then like why you decided to run a Lightning node.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So you already know my name. My name is Megasly. I'm actually from Nigeria. I was born in the southern part of Nigeria, and I was actually born and raised there. Currently, I moved down to Lagos. I've been there for a while. So my Bitcoin journey is a little bit funny. The first time I actually came across Bitcoin was in, I think it was I've actually been hearing about it, but the very first time I actually got to use it per se was in 2016. So I bought Bitcoin because I heard, or I saw somebody sent a link to me on my DM sometime about an investment opportunity and how I can buy and then invest in Bitcoin and then get a certain amount of returns after a period of time. I can't remember exactly how much it was, the return was, but then that was the very first time I got to buy Bitcoin. So I had to get some money, buy buy Bitcoin. It wasn't much actually. It was just 1,000 naira worth of Bitcoin. Then I deposited inside the website, and then I was just there. I mean, every day I'll just log in to check it's growing. Then after like I think what seems like 2 weeks, the website completely vanished. You tried to open the link and it was no longer working, and it was very funny actually. Then I was like, whoa, I've been scammed, and truly I was scammed. So that was
Oh,
yeah. So that was the very first.
so it was. I just want to say, so it was a website that was pretending to sell you Bitcoin,
Exactly.
basically.
No, not like
Oh man.
selling Bitcoin.
Oh,
So what they did was you buy Bitcoin from somewhere and then you send it to like an address and then it will be reflected on your dashboard and the website. Like you're investing per se. That was
oh,
how I was a complete novice.
I got you. So you bought it from somewhere else
Yeah.
and then sort of deposited it here. I
Exactly,
got you.
exactly. So
Yep.
I lost that money. That was in 2016, and since then I've never like done anything. I never actually until 2021. I never did anything related to Bitcoin until 2021. So what actually got me into Bitcoin in 2021 was I got an employment. I was applying for a job. Then in my interview I was asked, in I think the last stage of my interview, I was asked if I'm willing to collect my payments in Bitcoin. And you know how it is now. I even when I did not know anything about Bitcoin, then I still had to say yes because man, I didn't want to lose the opportunity. After I got the job, I started going into the Bitcoin rabbit hole. But initially, I was just trying to see how to use Bitcoin, how to buy and how to sell when it comes to me. How will I exchange it for cash? And then, but the person I was working with, I had like one of the colleagues there that was actually always preaching about Bitcoin every now and then. Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that. I mean, how Bitcoin has the potential to change the world and stuff like that. So he actually forced me to go into actually learn about Bitcoin for what Bitcoin is. Then I got in and then I started learning about Bitcoin. And then I was really, really shocked at what I found out. And that's how the journey has been. The rest has been story actually. Then in last year I met a couple of people, and throughout my series of learning about Bitcoin, I actually got attached to it in a way, and all I wanted to do was to tell others about it, just preach Bitcoin to other people. And then I got to meet a few people that had the same mind I had. Then we decided to build a group called African Bitcoiners. We are actually a team of five at the moment. So we came up with a group, and then we've been doing that. Our major goal was actually to educate Africans about Bitcoin. We know Bitcoin is powerful. We know the potential it carries, and then we wanted it to be, to be adopted by. We want it actually to be adopted by Africans, and then we cannot do that without actually teaching people about Bitcoin. So that's when we came out and we came up with a short course, a big Bitcoin for beginner course that that goes over to the people via email. So it's a 21 days course. We built the course and then curated, actually, should I say build it, like, so we created the course, and then what we do is we are basically just we pay Africans to take the course. So when you register for the course, the very first day, you earn 1,000 sats, and then when you go through the course and complete the course, at the end, take the final quiz. If you have up to 70% in the final quiz, then we give you the remaining 9,000 sats. In total, we pay everyone that takes the course 1,000 sats. But then that was just one part of it, one side of it. We were willing to do this, but then we were thinking of how exactly are we going to raise the money we will be using to pay these people, because if we are actually going to use Bitcoins from our pause, then eventually we are going to run out of it. So we decided that we need to look for a way to make it sustainable in a way, so that we will never run out of it. So as much Africans that get their hands on the course, they'll still earn the same amount of sats that every other person did, actually. So one of the reasons why I decided to pay them to take the course is actually so they can actually have an experience. So it's one thing to teach. We figured it's one thing to teach people about Bitcoin, but then it's another thing to, give them that experience, that first-hand experience, to actually be like, okay, this is it. We've taught you about Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin. This is what you can use it for. And then they go into it and take the Bitcoin and then try to actually use it to see how it is, how it works by themselves. So we came across zero free routing, actually, and then what he did, actually, the model was actually very attracting to us, and then we decided, okay, so we are going to do something like this exactly, where we run a lightning node, but then a free routing node, actually, like we're doing, but we earn some percentage, like we earn our keep generally when somebody wants to purchase the channel. So we basically just sell channel the same way zero fee routing did. So we sell channels to people and then get some liquidity from that. So every single thing we earn, every single Bitcoin we earn from our channel sales, we use it to sponsor Bitcoin education in Africa. So that's how it's been. We came up with the idea, and fortunately for us, Voltage was actually there to support us. So we reached out to them, and they decided to sponsor our node, and we hosted the node on Voltage. It's there, and it's still there up till now. And I'd like to say a big shout out to Nate. He's actually a very big part of our story, because he's been there every step of the way. I mean, I actually knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing about running a Lightning node when I started. I was a complete novice and beginner. But thanks to Nate, he took me from the basics, from the very basics, and then worked me down to where I was able to, start working. And then it's been very, very exciting. So we started in August last year, and we've been running since then. And the community has been very, very supportive for us. So basically, almost everybody that hears about exactly what we are doing, the reason why we are running the node, almost all of them has been willing to actually support us by buying a channel. Because what we do is the channel we sell, actually, when you buy a channel from us, you're not only buying a channel for your node, you're also sponsoring Bitcoin education in Africa, because the amount you pay is going straight to Bitcoin education in Africa. So that's basically it.
Yeah, holy moly. Well, first of all, it's my pleasure to help out. So You're welcome, but definitely my pleasure.
Thank you.
And the other thing is, I think that's an amazing model. Just real quick, so are you using your own sort of website to sell liquidity, or are you using like Magma?
Yeah, so we use both our website and we also use Magma, but most of the traffic we've been getting has been from our website actually.
Awesome. Yeah, that is, I think that's incredible. And I think that from the last time I looked up the Africa free routing node, you guys seem, I mean, it seems really, really well connected. It seems totally the value of buying a channel connected to the Africa free routing node really looks good. So I think that's great.
Thank you.
So yeah, if anyone out there needs some inbound liquidity, consider buying it from Africa Free Routing for sure. But yeah, that's a heck of a story though. From going so on your first job there, did you get paid in Lightning or was it just regular Bitcoin?
Yeah, it was
Just to kind of rewind it back.
yeah, so it was an on-chain payment. At the time, I didn't even know the difference
Uh-huh.
between Lightning and on-chain Bitcoin payments, you know. But then it was later that I discovered it was actually on-chain, so I get paid on-chain. I'll basically just wait a few minutes or sometimes an hour before it
Right.
gets confirmed and stuff like that.
So while you were doing research on how to use it, that's when you came across Lightning then?
Yeah, I when did I came across? Because generally, if we talk about, because in my country, actually where I come from, very few people knows about lightning. We know we've been saying that Nigeria is one of the
Hmm.
countries that's really big in Bitcoin adoption per se. So people here, generally the people here, they know about Bitcoin, you know, they know about Bitcoin as Bitcoin, but very few people knows about light. So I have actually been doing
I
the
see.
job anyways, because you see somebody that has a lot of people that have actually used Bitcoin, they've transacted with Bitcoin, either sent it to somebody or used it to get something. A lot of them do not know about lightning. They've never heard about lightning. They don't know there's a way you can get paid in lightning, get paid Bitcoin, and then you just receive it within seconds. So that's how I was initially. I just knew there's Bitcoin, and then when I get the payment, even when I'm exchanging, I use on chain. So I did not know at the time. I was using Trust wallets. So Trust wallets is very popular over here. So that was the wallet I was using, and you know, Trust wallet, there is nothing like Lightning over it. It was just an on-chain wallet kind of. So I came across Lightning early. I think that should be early this year. Early this year, around January. That was the very first time I. No,
Oh,
sorry,
so a
not
year
this
ago.
year. Sorry, last year.
Yeah.
Early 2022,
Uh-huh.
yeah, January 2022. That was the first time I came across Lightning, and I was really wowed. So I received the payment, and it came in like instantly. You know, all the other experience I had initially was the one that you have to wait. I mean, for some confirmations before you actually have your Bitcoin in your wallet. But then I was surprised. I got paid, and it was with wallet of Satoshi. You know, and it entered
Yep, yep.
instantly. I was really marveled, and I was wow. So
I think it's really really cool that you kind of you're still kind of, I don't know, in my opinion, somewhat new, right? Like you said, 2021 is when it all happened, and here you are running like one of the best, in my opinion, nodes out there.
yeah,
And I think that just goes to show what the power of motivation and passion will do for you. Because I know lots of Bitcoiners that have been around for a very, very long time, and they still are like, they'll use Lightning on mobile or whatever, but
yeah,
running a node and stuff is they're
yeah.
they're intimidated. But yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because I know when I first came across Lightning, I mean, I had to like just go into the details to find out exactly how Lightning works, what makes it so fast, and I remember going through YouTube trying to learn exactly about what Lightning is. And the very first video I came across was I heard Lightning was more like a second layer. I still remember then, and I was still a little bit confused as to how exactly it's built. So I had to like go into the details, read about Lightning, and then I came across the Lightning Network map actually. And then I tried to look at the map. I saw
Oh
that
yeah.
was when I came across. That's when I actually saw that Africa was like empty as far as the map is concerned. So you look at the map, you see that in Africa we are kind of lagging behind. But it doesn't actually mean that there are no that we don't have people running nodes in Africa. So we have some of them, but then I think a good number of them are running on Tor, so they are not visible on the map. So the map
Right,
actually.
like they could be Tor only or something too.
Sorry.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm sure Africa has nodes that are Tor only that don't
Exactly.
show
So
up on the
yeah,
map, for example. Yeah.
that's what I said. That we have a number of them actually, but then the ones that are on ClearNet to be visible on the map are actually very few. And you just look at the map, you see very very empty, and then you go over to if you go over to the western part of Africa, you just be it was just like that. And that's how actually
Hmm.
I got moved. One of the reasons why we decided to run a node. So we did not just want to run a node for running sake. So we wanted to make it visible. And actually, that's one of the missions, one of the things we are trying to do. Recently, just launched a node actually in Nigeria free routing node. That's actually I know with voltage have actually made the work very easy. I mean, when we decided to spin up the node on voltage, it was actually very easy and stress free. So we did not go through the hard parts of compiling the node and then running it by yourself. I actually got to experience that by myself when I decided to set up Nigeria free routing. So it was actually successful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was successful,
Cool.
but then we just had some complications in a way. So a lot of people, the day we launched, a lot of people were trying to connect to the node, but then they were not able to actually connect because of a port problem. It was more of a port problem actually. So I think it has something to
Yeah.
do with the connection I'm using, the router I'm using. So we've actually been working on getting that resolved, and once it's resolved fully, then we'll let the community know. And our goal is actually to build a network of nodes, so not just Africa free routing and Nigeria free routing. We want to make sure we have nodes around. It's actually it's actually a big goal. It's not something we might just achieve in one day or 1 year, but then eventually we'd like to see nodes, lightning nodes on the map, like in every country, in all the countries in Africa. So we are just starting with the ones we can at the moment, and as time goes on, we will be, moving to other countries as well.
Oh man, one of my questions was like, what's the future goals? And you already answered it, so that's awesome. Have you considered or played with LN bits yet? Because we have that on Voltage, and you can make unique URLs for people to so they can have wallets and stuff.
Ellen Bates. Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
I've actually played around with Ellen Bates. I mean, it's actually exciting. So that's actually Ellen Bates is one of the ways we used to pay reward our users for taking our course. So yeah,
nice,
so we
nice.
use Ellen URL. We create vouchers, and then I
Okay.
actually wrote like an automation script with Python that uses like a Google Sheet to send those vouchers to people that complete the course, and then they basically just get the voucher. And then it's easy because they can use wallet of Satoshi to claim their voucher. It's actually LMBit is very powerful. I mean, I saw a lot of other things we can do with LMBit. I haven't actually used all of them, but then I saw a lot of. And
Hmm.
also, yeah, we built a website recently. I also made use of LNBits API to create a no, not voucher, sorry, in an invoice rather. So I used one of the
Right.
APIs to create invoice on the website, and it's actually very very nice. Wow.
Oh, like with the webhooks and stuff.
Yes.
Very cool. And what's the site again? I'm going to mention it at the end too, but
Yeah.
just
So it's
want to shout that out.
sats to data Africa.
Oh, right. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I just say thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So you've been doing this for, gosh, 5 months or so.
Yeah. So
What are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned that maybe you didn't expect or something like that with getting the node going and working with the channels or anything like that?
yeah, so I mean, I've come across some challenges. I think one of the biggest what I would say is the biggest challenge of running a node would be, I mean, I know our node is on voltage, so most of the work have been done already, But then I think number one issue would be the issue of liquidity. So that's one. And then I think recently there's this thing we've been experiencing, and it's been kind of hard for me to figure out exactly why it's happening. And having like a lot of forced closures on the node. So when things like that that happens, it's and you don't know exactly how to go about troubleshooting, knowing how to try to resolve it. It's actually sometimes it's hard to even think about it in the first place. Initially, I used to run to unit when I have issues on our node. I'll basically just send him a DM or on Twitter or email him, and then he'll just tell me what to do and what not to do to get it solved. One of the challenges would be figuring out problems like that. A lot of people say when it happens, you just go through the logs, and then there are times you go through the logs and then you just be looking through the logs ultra, and then you not see exactly why something happened, and that's just it for Africa free routing. But then when I actually did go through the process of compiling the node myself, running it on a laptop, I think the challenge was a lot more, should I say, higher than what I experienced when I was doing it on voltage. Because the same way I spinned the node on voltage was the same way I did on my laptop. The difference is that over there on voltage I had Nate. Nate was there to guide me and walk me through the whole process, and it was much more easier. And here I had nobody, so I was basically just using the power of YouTube and googling and stuff like that to go through the whole process. So it was stressful, I'm not gonna lie, starting with running the Bitcoin node, because you definitely have to run that first.
Hmm.
Running the Bitcoin node, I came across a lot of issues, a lot of errors. And when I come across the error, I'll either go to Plebnet on Telegram, or I go to the Slack channel, LND Slack channel, and then ask a question. And then sometimes I get answers, sometimes I get answers. I try the answers and it's not working. I'll go to Google, because I didn't want to I didn't want to look like the person that is always coming on every time to be asking questions. So sometimes when I get issues like that, I'll just make use of Google, try to see how to get it solved. So it was really really hard for me to set it up in the first place. I mean, it took me more than a week actually to finally get the node running. Even after that, I
Yeah.
still came across some issues of, okay, initially the first issue I discovered was that the node was pumping like bandwidth too much. So the data it was using was very, very high. And I had to Google to see on average how much data it should consume, and I realized ours was consuming a lot more than it should have. And I Googled to see the solution. I still couldn't see anything. Then I had to go to LND Slack channel, and luckily for me, I had the solution, and then I implemented it and it worked. So there were just series of problems. I came across a lot of things anyways. But then the beautiful part about it is every time I solve a problem, I just, should I say, I learn something every single time I troubleshoot on something and then I get it solved. I just learn a new stuff, from there. After compiling Nigeria free routing, I still went ahead to compile Node twice again, and then it did not take as long as it took me. So it basically just it took me a few hours to get it to run. So yeah, so that's basically some
So the hard part is getting it going in the first
the first
place,
place.
and then managing it is the easy part.
Exactly.
So voltage takes away the hard part. That's good. I know exactly what you mean though, because I obviously run a Lightning node at home from scratch, and I experiment with it all the time, trying to learn stuff. Like I learned recently that if your node goes offline and you don't have your channel backup file, the other side of the channel force closes and you recover with your seed
Yeah.
words, the money won't be there. You have to do like a special script to see the money. because the addresses for force closes are different.
Wow.
It's like really weird,
Wow.
but that's something I learned from banging my head on the wall for like 4 hours.
Wow. Even as a
So
professional like this.
I mean, I think there's always something new to learn and play with. But yeah, it's something else. But as far as like managing channels and stuff, you said liquidity. Did you do anything specific to get inbound liquidity when you were getting going to begin with?
Yeah, so I think what we did generally was just to reach out to the community. So we used our Twitter space to make some posts, and then we most of the support we had actually most of them as people we don't actually know, because initially actually we had to. I remember when we got the note set up, and then you gave me some ideas on how we can get inbound liquidity and stuff like that. So we used our Twitter generally. We used our Twitter initially. Then after that, after like I think the first month or two, after the first 2 months or 3 months, we're basically just getting channels. Sometimes you just sleep and then you wake up the following morning and then you see a channel from a note you don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been happening like that, and then there are a couple of people that just some people will give us the inbound liquidity without us even asking. Then there are some people that would come through to our website and then request for a channel. Most of the times we try to figure out how exactly they got to to know about us, but then it's somehow hard to know where they came from, either from our Twitter or I don't know. So, but then it's been nice and actually exciting. The community, I'd just say the community has been supporting, because the supports we've been having, they're not really from our own efforts per se. So we didn't really make a lot of effort to get them to open channels with us. It's just been from their own love, and supportive mind.
Yeah, it seems like over the past year in sort of the Bitcoin bubble, we're hearing a lot of news out of Africa and stuff, and I think a lot of folks really want to help because
Yeah.
money is weird, I guess, to say the least, in Africa. I personally have never been there, but I've heard stories. I've heard folks on like the Human Rights Foundation and all that stuff talking about how useful it is and how more and more people are learning. And I think it's really wonderful what you're doing on that.
Yeah, that's actually true. Thank you.
But yeah, it's like it's interesting too because running a Lightning node, like if your goal is to have a routing node, most of the work is at the beginning, right? Because
Yeah.
like you said, once you have sort of proven yourself that and your the trend is good and stuff, people will just start opening up channels to you because they think you're going to be a good peer,
Yeah.
and then it starts. I don't want to say running itself, but it requires far less babysitting than at the beginning.
Yes, yes, that's true. That's actually very true.
Because when people ask me, they're like, how much time do I got to put into it? I'm like, well, the first like month or two, it's going to be a little bit more, but then it won't be as much after that usually. Especially if you are doing routing fees, then it might take a little bit more. But I think the idea of just running a really, really good node that's well connected and people will buy channels. I think that is the way to go, personally.
Yeah. Yes.
The only time I wouldn't charge routing fees on channels to peers that are just peers, but like routing fees to maybe end destinations, like people that are selling gift cards or exchanges. It's like I might have fees on those channels.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Cause
but like why do it to just like normal people, you know?
yeah, I get it. Cause channels like that drains out very quickly.
Yeah, so I guess before we open it up here, I want to ask, is there any advice that you could give to folks that are listening that want to run a Lightning node but haven't yet, that to kind of push them over the edge? Because like I always try to like I'm always finding people that are right on the edge of starting, and I'm trying to help. So what would you say to that?
Yeah. So I think one of the things I'd like to say is running a lightning node is actually exciting, very, very exciting. But then if you're out there and you're thinking of running a lightning node for the first time, I think my very first advice to you would be to check out voltage first, because it's been actually very easy over there. They've made it actually very, very easy, because it's good to run your node by yourself, but if you actually want to get that experience initially, to go through it without so much stress, then you go to voltage and then get your node running. Probably after like a few months of going through testing and seeing how it works and everything, then you can think about getting it set up by your own self, because that's generally
Yeah,
the the route I went through, the process I went through. So it became easier when, although I am compiling the node by myself was kind of hard because I did not learn that part from voltage. But then I was able to know some terminologies, some things. So when you see some certain terms and you know exactly how to what what they stand for, and stuff like that. Even when going through the configuration file, generally there are some terms I saw without anybody telling me. I was able to know, oh, this is what this configuration is for, because I've actually used used manage the lightning node. I don't know if I'd call it to manage per se, since voltage is doing almost all
right.
the work. But then it was a little bit easier, so I was able to know without even going through to start probably googling about what configuration to give my node. I was able to, just by looking at the configuration file, I saw some of the things, I knew some of the things I needed to do and stuff like that. So that's just it. I mean, running a node is exciting, very very exciting. So if anybody wants to go into it, why not? But then if you want to go, if you don't want to go through it the hard way, then you can always use voltage.
Man, the shout outs are really, really appreciated. We really do want to make it easy for folks that want to use this sort of service.
You've done a great job actually.
That's awesome. All right. Yeah, man. Yeah, that does mean a lot. Because a lot of us, we have our heads down. We're building a new product that we're going to be launching soon and stuff. Hopefully everyone will enjoy. Yeah. So I guess, I mean, if there's nothing else, I can't really think of too much. Does anyone want to come up on stage and ask a question? I'll give it a second for that. Feel free to raise a hand or request a speaker, however it works. So yeah, so where can we go to buy channels from Africa Free Routing again?
Yeah, so the link is actually on our profile. Other than that, you can just
Okay.
log on to bitcoiners.africa, and then you go down to lightning nodes, you see Africa Free Road.
Okay, cool. AfricaFreeRouting.com.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Doesn't look like anyone has any questions. Come on. Or comments. Like, feel free to just come hang out with us for a little bit. We've got a few minutes left. This is a really nice site. Very cool. Very cool. I haven't checked it out before. I was like, man, I kind of want to check it out.
Yeah, thank you. We've just been working through it with limited skills in a way. So
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, so I guess so the goals for this year then are to start running physical nodes in a few countries then.
yes, yes. So we've started.
Because I'm excited to keep an eye on you guys for the year because I think it's going to be big.
Yeah, we hope so. I mean, we actually believe it's going to be, So we launched Nigeria Free Road Trade, although it didn't go exactly as planned. But then once it's fully set,
Hmm.
then that's actually our first. So we understand. Once it's fully set, we'll let the community know, and then by next month we should be launching another one in another country. So
Hmm.
let's just wait and see how that goes. But it's in
For sure.
general, it's been very very exciting. I mean, I love it for you.
Yeah. So the education classes are they all online or are they oh we have I'm gonna bring somebody up here.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
No, I was just gonna ask is the education where you get the 1,000 sats and everything
Hello,
is that in person or online?
It's
Hello.
it's
can you
online.
hear me?
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, how's it going? Got any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hi, man.
hey, thanks
How are
for
you
the
doing?
opportunity. I'm okay, Jadom, and I'm an African Bitcoin Lightning developer. Really fantastic to see what the Voltage and Africa Free Routing Partnership is doing, right? First of all, opening ground for new Lightning routing in Africa. I have a question about Voltage, the platform specifically. Are you building towards a direction where someone like Africa Free Routing can still use the Voltage platform, but with geographic selection. So say I want to run my node in Lagos, kind of figure out how to do that without leaving the voltage platform.
Yeah, so that's something that we have been looking at for a while now, and the problem is cost, really, because IP addresses are weird, right? Because they have to be registered and everything, and if you don't have the physical data center of where you're running it with the IP address associated with an ISP of that region, then it's you have to do proxies and you have to do all this stuff, and some of it is kind of like legally blurry, from my understanding. So it's really hard at the moment to do that. We're still trying to find solutions for that because we do have a lot of requests for specific regions to show up for nodes. We're just not there yet, unfortunately. So I don't have an ETA on that, but it is on our radar of things that are being requested.
Oh, cool. I think that's just one, like, knowing that it's on your radar, and that's cool. That's encouraging.
100%. Yep. Yeah. I wish it was easier to do that. There are some really cool protocols out there that could help facilitate that, but yeah, I hope we have it someday for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else on your mind there, usually?
No, but a plug to what you're doing. I know you've been I just joined the space, but super excited. I'm going to listen even to the first half of this. So super excited about how this evolves and like, seeing more of projects like Africa Free Routing do more, like, host their own nodes, serve their own communities, and all that. I am, maybe a bit of a plug, I am working on Lightning, bringing up Fedimint, plugging it to the Lightning network. So also excited to see people start playing around with that technology in a few weeks to a few months down the road.
Very cool. We are definitely keeping an eye on that. I think there's a lot of these really cool sort of Lightning adjacent projects, such as that and like Nostra, right? And like all these things that Lightning is just empowering these new ways to do things, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, exciting times ahead. All right, thank you. Wrapping up.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you,
thank
man,
you.
for joining. I mean, he actually told me about the project. It's actually very exciting, and I can't wait to see it come live.
I think this is going to be a pretty fun year.
It
It
is.
sounds
It
like.
is. I am very, very, very sure about that.
Oh man. So is there anything else on your mind before we close it down? I don't want to ramble on for too long.
Not exactly, other than to still say thank you to Voltage for the
Yeah, and
opportunity.
all I want to say is go everybody that's listening to this, if you're running a node, go buy a channel from African Free Routing. And if you're not running a node, go start a node and then go buy a channel from African Free Routing because you're going to get inbound liquidity and it's going to go towards education, which is
Education.
amazing. It's a win-win for everybody, and that's
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
the
Thank you
the
very much.
incentives are amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much. And like you said, we like to tell the people that buy channels from us that if you're buying channel from us, you're actually getting, like you said, a win-win kind of benefit. So you get inbound liquidity to your channel and also to your node actually. And also you'll be supporting Bitcoin education in Africa. And to me, that's like the most powerful, part of it because you'll be helping a lot of people. We in Africans, we need Bitcoin. I like to say that we need Bitcoin more than other parts of the world. So in order to actually get it, get it, get the adoption, expanded in Africa, we need to teach more and more people about Bitcoin because without them actually knowing about Bitcoin, they won't they won't adopt it. So adoption comes from the education first. When you teach them about Bitcoin, then they'll know exactly what it is, the potential it brings, and then they'll go ahead, adopt, and then they might also even help to teach others. So the few
Bingo.
people will teach,
Yes.
will go teach other people, and the other people will go teach others, and then before you know, that's actually the goal we have.
Yep.
So
I have that philosophy as well, where, I might be helping one person right now, but if I can help them really well, they're going to go and help others, and we're going to reach critical mass someday
yeah, yeah,
where it just like a tsunami, we win, and we're
exactly,
all in this together on that, and that's it's really motivating.
exactly, exactly. Thank you very much, man.
All right. So we'll be in touch, everyone. Thanks for listening. We will have this on the Voltage YouTube channel. You could just go to YouTube and type in Voltage Bitcoin, and we'll pop right up. We got a lot of really cool videos on there, previous shows, workshops, just tons of good stuff. So check that out. Give us a follow. Give Evergood Free Routing a follow. Go to their website, buy a channel, and we'll have you back soon, maybe later this year, see how things are going. All right.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, and
All
have a
right.
great day.
Bye, guys.